Whoa. Welcome back to, I almost said welcome back to the basement yard. Welcome back to Creeps and Coffee. Oh, whoa, silence. What's happening? I'm making myself cringe. I'm sorry. Hi, it's me. It's Jaim. Caitlin is not here today, if that was not obvious. And we are about to commit a crime. We're going to talk history without Caitlin. So, she's definitely going to listen to this, but we had a little oopsie where we are supposed to record this episode, which I'll get into. And then I forgot that she was going away camping with no Wi-Fi and no service. And so I was like, oh, we'll just record in a few days. Like, it's fine. I don't gotta worry. And then she was like, bye, going off the grid. And I was like, oh, no. So I tried to convince some friends to join me. Not one person was interested in this topic. And I was going to talk about Greek mythology because that's really messed up. But I figured if I was going to do that, it would need to be with Kate because I think she would literally murder me if I talked about one of her favorite subjects ever without her. So, welcome to Creeps and Coffee, Solo Edition 2024. Boom. Kabloom. Kablam.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Jaim, and this is Creeps and Coffee,
a show where we talk about the dark parts of the world around us.
Cryptids, conspiracies, things that go bump in the night,
and the crimes behind the scariest creatures of all, humans.
Join us as we take a look at the stories sure to give you the creeps.
Pull up a seat, grab a coffee,
and let's have a chat.
I'm sorry, this feels very millennial core, and it makes me want to rip my hair out. I get nervous when I'm alone because I feel crazy, because I'm just talking to myself. You know the drill. So today we're going to talk about ley lines. If you didn't read the title, that's what it is. Ley lines, also known as ley, or lays, not the chip, L-E-Y. Yeah, we're talking about history without Caitlin. And I think it's kind of interesting, to be honest. So that's kind of shocking, too. And we're going to have a lot of fun. I thought we should talk about this topic because it's actually involved in the Sims game, Sims 3 and 4. But I will talk about that not right away, because not everybody likes the Sims. So, what the heck are ley lines, right? Let's get into it. Ley lines, according to theorists, are invisible lines that crisscross all around the world, similar to like latitude and longitude lines. They are invisible, and they are controversial. Some people say they're real, some people don't say they're real. But we're gonna go back in time here for this one. So, ley lines are straight alignments drawn between various historic structures, prehistoric sites, and prominent landmarks. So, like, think like the pyramids and Stonehenge or something. This idea was developed in the early 20th century Europe, with ley line believers arguing that these alignments were recognized by ancient societies that deliberately erected structures along with them. Since the 1960s, members of Earth Mysteries movement and other esoteric traditions have commonly believed that ley lines are Earth's energies and serve as guides for alien spacecraft. We can't go one episode without talking about aliens. Meanwhile, archaeologists and scientists say that ley lines are pseudo-archaeology and pseudoscience, which essentially means that they're not proven to be true. We don't have any evidence that they work. So, you know, for example, don't come for me, crystals. You know, the crystal girlies say, oh yeah, rose quartz will help you find love. An onyx will help you with a migraine. I don't know if that one's true, actually. But there's no outright proof of that, or we're not able to prove it yet. Meanwhile, pseudo-archaeology is also known as alternative archaeology, fringe archaeology, spooky archaeology, cult archaeology, or fantastic archaeology. So it's just an interpretation of the past by people who are not recognized as professional archaeologists. The hoo-hoos, just kidding. The idea of ley lines as straight tracks across landscapes was put forward by English, I don't know how to say this word, antiquarian. It's just a person who studies history with a particular attention to ancient artifacts and archaeological sites. It was put forward by this guy, Alfred Watkins, in the 1920s. In his book, The Old Straight Track, he argues that straight lines could be drawn between various historic structures and that these represented trade routes created by ancient British societies. He gained a small following, but his ideas were never accepted by the British as the truth or as real. Critics noted that his ideas relied on drawing lines between sites that were established at different periods in time, different periods of the past. They also argued that in prehistory, and technically right now, it would be impractical to travel in a straight line across a hilly or mountainous area, especially in Britain. So it's unlikely that they were trade routes, but you never know. Draw your own conclusions with this. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. You might be wrong, but it's up to you. So, for example, they argue, like, if you're walking in a straight line, are you going to walk in a straight line and there's a giant hill in front of you? Are you going to walk up that hill, get really hot, really tired, and then come back down the hill as long as you're in a straight line? Or are you going to maybe weave slightly around the hill so you don't have to do the big trek, you know? But we don't know. A similar notion around the same idea was raised in 1920s Germany. And I can't speak German. But this similar notion was that of Heiliglinen, I think, also known as holy lines. And a person named, sorry for the pronunciation, Wilhelm Teudt, Teudt. He proposed a similar theory about holy lines that linked standing stones, churches, crosses, and other objects of spiritual significance in Germany. Teudt's holy line theory meets the same fate, unfortunately, as Watkins' ley lines. There are just so many possibilities for connecting a variety of objects on a landscape that, honestly, the odds were better of finding connections and alignments than not finding them. As we say in psychology... Oh, what do we say? Oh, as we say in psychology, correlation does not equal causation. He also made another observation that actually had more significance than this. He noted that an ancient chamber constructed in the naturally forming megaliths called the... Hold on, let me... The Egsterstein? He noted that an ancient chamber constructed in the naturally formed megaliths called the Egsterstein had a circular window that formed a point where rays of light at midsummer solstice shone through, and where the moon was visible before it reached its northernmost position. He believed that the Neolithic peoples, so before 2000 BCE, had used the site as an astronomical observatory and a calendar. That's pretty cool. Also, not to brag or anything, but you hear those big words? Yeah, I have a university degree. Don't ask me to spell them, though. The Egsterstein, don't ask me how to pronounce them correctly either, which lies at the approximate altitude of Stonehenge, is a natural site of 5 sandstone pillars rising 120 feet above an area filled with caves and grottos. It served as a ritual center for nomadic reindeer hunters, and later was the site of pagan rituals until the 18th century, where such rituals were forbidden by law. Thanks, Christianity. Christian monks took over the site and set up crosses and reliefs depicting biblical scenes. Christians. They abandoned it later, after about 1600. Many people continue to visit this site, claiming that they're aware of its energy and that their physical ailments have been cured by walking among these stones or rubbing against them. Sure. Whatever you say. Also, little fun fact, apparently all 50 U.S. capitals are on ley lines. I can't prove it. Let's fast forward, but still back in time, the 1960s. Watkins' ideas were sort of revived as the Earth Mysteries movement sort of kicks in. In 1961, Tony Webb put forward the belief that ley lines were established by prehistoric communities to guide alien spacecraft. So we're getting away from the more realistic stuff. We're getting a little bit farther out there. This view promoted a wider audience, of course, in the books of John Michel, particularly in his work as well, the 1969 The View Over Atlantis. Oh, detaching further from reality. Michel's publications were also accompanied by the launch of the Ley Hunter magazine, like ley line hunters, and the appearance of a ley hunter community keen on identifying and discovering ley lines across British landscapes. Ley hunters often combined their search for ley lines with other esoteric practices like dowsing and numerology, and they had a belief in a forthcoming quote-unquote age of Aquarius that supposedly would transform human society. The age of Aquarius in astrology is either the current or forthcoming astrological age, depending on the method of calculation. Let's find out what it is, okay? I actually didn't do too much research in this. I guess the age of Aquarius involves the astrological age that affects humanity, influencing the rise and fall of different civilizations and cultural tendencies. Traditionally, Aquarius is associated with electricity, computers, flight, democracy, freedom, idealism, modernization, nervous disorders, check, humanitarianism, rebellion, nonconformity, philanthropy, perseverance, humanity, etc. My God, is that us? I feel like that's us. Yo, is this play about us? If you know more about astrology, let me know, because I don't really know a whole lot about what that means. I'd love to do a whole episode on astrology. Please let me know if you want to do an episode on astrology. I beg of you. This is me selfishly asking. Comment down below. Let us know if you want to hear about astrology or astronomy. I'll take either. Astronomy can be scary. Anywho, they got some criticism, the ley hunters, and the community around the 1990s slowly dissipated. Sorry to hear. If you've got ley hunter written in your resume, though, that's pretty awesome. So a lot of these people instead moved their studies towards landscape archaeology or folkloristics. I guess that's just folklore studies and anthropology. But the belief in ley lines nevertheless remains common in certain esoteric religious groups. You know, modern paganism in Europe and North America, there's still a strong belief if you ask certain people in certain groups. Personally, I don't know how I feel. I'm open to it. Of course, there's no proof in any of this, but I'm open to it. You know, it couldn't hurt to believe in it. What's the worst that could happen? And I won't speak for Caitlin, but if she were here, I feel like she would probably be the same as me. Be like, there's no evidence, but it would be really cool. I don't believe in it necessarily, but I'm interested. I think that's what she thinks. Caitlin, if you're listening, write a comment. Tell me what you think. Archaeologists have stated multiple times there is no evidence that ley lines are a recognized phenomena among ancient European societies that attempts to draw them. Archaeologists noted that repeatedly that there is no evidence that ley lines were a recognized phenomena among ancient European societies. Know-it-alls. Can you say nerd alert? Nerd alert. I'll see myself out. The door is over here. I'll go. And archaeologists and statisticians. What is this word? Statisticians. Those guys have demonstrated that a random distribution of a sufficient number of points on a plane will inevitably create alignment points of purely by chance. And skeptics have also stressed that the esoteric idea of Earth energies running through ley lines has not been scientifically verified, but it is still a faith for their believers. Also, I know I've said the word a lot, esoteric. For anyone who doesn't know, the definition of it is understood by or meant for only the select few who have a special knowledge or interest. And apparently, going even further back, the early prototype, one of the first people to mention this theory that ancient sacred sites were constructed in alignment with one another, was proposed by Reverend Edward Duke, who observed that some prehistoric monuments and medieval churches aligned with each other. And he proposed this in 1846. In 1909, the idea was advanced in Germany as well. You remember the story, the Wilhelm 1920s, holy lines, etc. I also, while I was doing my research, I found it kind of funny. On one website similar to Reddit, it said, "Why does Canada not have a lot of ley lines or ley line maps?" Number one, it's not real. Number two, it's a British it was a British and European thing mostly, but according to an investigator of supernatural claims, this person just answered that you can locate many sacred sites on maps or places of spiritual significance, and you can pinpoint several lines giving mystical energies, but to just have fun. And I agree with that. Just have fun with it, you guys. It's okay. Come to your own conclusions with this. In the spirit of let's pretend Caitlin is here, we're also going to talk about the term ley itself. Ley, L-E-Y, is derived from Old English for a cleared space. Watkins adopted this name for his lines because he found it to be part of place names of various settlements that were along the lines he traced. He observed also the reoccurrence of the words coal and dod, or dode, D-O-D, in English place names. So, like Coleman or Dodman. He also proposed that the Longman of Wilmington chalk geoglyph in Sussex was a depiction of such an individual with their measuring equipment. You also may know the Longman of Wilmington as the Wilmington Giant or the Green Man. And a geoglyph is a large design or motif, generally longer than 4 meters. In 1961, Tony Wedd released a book, Skyways and Landmarks, that published the idea that Watkins' ley lines were both real and served as ancient markers to guide alien spaceships that were visiting Earth. He came to this conclusion after comparing Watkins' ideas to the French ufologist Ami Michel, who argued for the existence of orthogonality lines, which alien spacecraft traveled. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. Wed suggested that either spacecraft were following the prehistoric landmarks for guidance, or that both the ley lines and the spacecraft were following a magnetic current flowing across the Earth. Swinging in with a different name, we have John Michel. I think I already mentioned him. He promoted an even wider audience about this stuff in 1967, The Flying Saucer Vision. Sounds legit. In this book, John promoted the ancient astronaut belief that extraterrestrials had actually assisted humanity during prehistory. So humans had worshipped these alien entities as gods, but the aliens left when they realized humanity had become too materialistic and technology focused. He also argued that humanity's materialism was driving it to self-destruction, but that it could be prevented by reactivating the ancient centers that would facilitate renewed contact with the aliens. I am open to that. I am very open to that because there are a lot of like hieroglyphs and stuff in history that do show different entities that aren't human. You know, look at literally any mythology. Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Norse mythology. You could technically talk about any of those in relation to this. And also, valid, extraterrestrials going, oh, humans are becoming too materialistic and technology focused. If they were saying that 100 years ago, what do you think they're saying now? Why do you think we've never talked to aliens? They called us on our BS, and they were right. We've got iPhone 47 coming out, and the rich are becoming richer. We got billionaires going around destroying the environment and the world. So, you win, aliens. I just solved the Fermi paradox. They just don't want to talk to us. We're getting ghosted. We've got the cold shoulder, and we deserve it. Man, I really do feel crazy. I'm shouting in my living room alone, waving my hands around. You can't see it, but I am talking to myself about aliens. I've reached a new low. Michel repeated his beliefs in his new book in 1969, The View Over Atlantis. I think I mentioned that one already. So in this one, there is a different mention of different lines. There is an interpretation of ley lines in reference to the Chinese concept of geomantic energy lines, which, very interesting. These are apparently called dragon paths or dragon lines. These are supposedly roadways of qi, spelled QI, or vital energy that cuts across the world. This corresponds to concepts in Chinese medicine about the human body and energy passages associated with certain organs. I don't know much about that, and I felt like the episode would honestly be too long if I got into every subdivision about it, because they all kind of just say the same thing. They're different mystical energy lines that we can't prove or disprove. So if you want more, I will talk about it on Patreon or something at some point, or I'll leave links to it. Let me know. Also, reminder, we have a Patreon. Go follow us. It's, what is it called? If you want to give us a follow on Patreon, join the SAS Squad. It is patreon.com/creepsandcoffee. Patreon.com/creepsandcoffee. Please. But yeah. So he translated the words also as lungmei, dragon veins, or lungma. Excuse my pronunciation, I don't speak Chinese, I'm sorry. He proposed that an advanced ancient society had once covered much of the world and established different ley lines across the landscape to harness this lungmei energy. which is what translates to dragon paths, dragon lines. However, the issue is he reinterpreted these tales from English mythology and folklore, where heroes killed dragons and like dragon slayers are becoming villains and stuff, and that's not it. You can't just take something from ancient China and then turn it Christian. That's not it. And yeah, he was criticized for having an apocalyptic tone. And that's where we bring in the Age of Aquarius stuff, in which ancient wisdom would be restored. Ooh. I also thought it would be cool to mention, back to the ley line hunting community, ley line hunters also took an interest in working with people known as archaeoastronomers, which sounds sick. I would like to do that job, please. Is there a degree for it? Archaeoastronomy is the multidisciplinary study of how people in the past understood the phenomena of the sky. That is so cool. To me, that's funny. Somebody left a comment on Reddit saying, if the Earth is a sphere, why are these lines straight? Flat Earth? No. I don't know a lot, but I can promise you the Earth, not flat. I don't know if we've done an episode debunking that theory, but I will. Don't make me do it. I will. Anyway, as we mentioned before, a lot of empirical evidence could not be proven, and a lot of scientists have said this isn't real, this doesn't work, and in science, proof is everything. But for some people, that doesn't matter. You don't need proof. It's actually an act of faith, which I can respect. You know, you take the leap of faith, act of faith. Sometimes people say you just have to like trust in God, trust in the process, trust that the universe will like give you whatever you can take, that kind of thing. Not necessarily saying I believe that, but you know, act of faith. If you have faith in it, good for you. Okay, go back to where I talk about the book, Atlantis book. So in this book, they mention the historian Ronald Hutton. Sorry. I'm Canadian. Bringing back Hutton. He noted that people wanted to seek out new data and better arguments to bolster their beliefs in ley lines, and he noted that this pulled along a, and I quote, potential fissure between rationalism and mysticism that has always been inherent in the movement. And that is true, especially with a lot of pseudosciences. It becomes a very gray area, the line between, you know, working and just a placebo effect becomes very thin. Ley lines have also been tagged as a red herring as well. If you want to Google ley lines or look up like ley line maps all over the world, you can find so many different variations. They're quite cool, actually. There are some that talk about like Earth energy nodes and vortexes as well. And whether you believe in it or not, it's also cool to look up. And also the FBI agent in your computer will get to laugh and point and go, what the heck? What is this person doing? More criticism about Watkins' theory. There's such a high density of historic and prehistoric sites in Britain and other parts of Europe. Finding straight lines that connect sites is trivial and purely coincidence. Some even go as far as to state that ley lines don't exist. Like, through and through, they simply aren't real. Debbie Downer, okay. But to be fair, a researcher named Tom Brooks argued that keen mathematicians living in Britain as far back as 5,000 years ago, so before the Greeks had even invented geometry, he, Tom Brooks, like Watkins, examined ancient sites, apparently like up to 1,500 of them, and he found that they had all been built on a series of isosceles triangles, each one guiding ancient humans to the next. Is it still a coincidence now that there's both lines and triangles? I don't know. Apparently math is important, kids. Not me immediately disproving this. However, the research can't be proven because we use a limited set of data from a larger pool of information that is just used to support this argument. So this just goes to show how data can be skewed to push a certain idea while ignoring points that don't fit the mold, which is true. Correlation does not equal causation. For example, you could have 5 kids eating pancakes for breakfast, and then you go, oh, look, 3 of the 5 kids got super, excited and bouncy, and, they had a sugar high, and it was crazy. Okay, maybe they did all have pancakes, but one of them has ADHD. One of them, their mom is buying them a puppy after this experiment, and one of them had a really good night's sleep, 15 hours of sleep. They have so much energy, they're ready to explode. Doesn't necessarily prove anything. But despite the lack of proof, people are still excited by the idea. Parties will still claim that ley lines are good for giving us as humans energy, that they carry a powerful magnetic field, while others say they hold a psychic power. And then other people say that they are associated with UFO landings. Some say they've got healing properties, and some say that they have found vortexes in the ley lines with healing properties. I wouldn't be a betting woman, or if I was a betting woman, I wouldn't bet that I could get healed on some ley lines. But, Stonehenge is centrally located on a ley line, and people think that that's an energy portal. We should do a whole episode on Stonehenge. Don't worry, it's on our list, our 25-page list that continues to grow. And the whole reason I wanted to talk about ley lines, The Sims. So, Caitlin likes Sims 3 more, I like Sims 4 more. If you don't know, The Sims is a video game that Kate and I love to play. I think Sim stands for simulation. You create a character or a couple, you play games, you go to work, you go to school. It's like real life, but more fun and on a computer. And there you can build your own houses or you can buy houses in The Sims. And each plot of land that you can purchase has different features that you can it comes with the house or you can add it to it. It can be stuff like it's a breezy spot, or it's an eco-friendly lot. It is a party center for teens, or it's a welcoming spot for your neighbors. Your neighbors will knock at your door more. It just affects the gameplay, which is pretty cool. And if you pick certain ones in certain parts of the Sim cities, or you can add your own, and one of the options you can add is put your lot on a ley line, which in The Sims, it boosts your chance of conceiving twins. So fun, Caitlin. And you can also put them on a dark ley line. And so for this one, it says the dark energy has an impact on nocturnal activities, so you can expect babies conceived here to require extra care while teething. AKA, it increases the chance of babies being born as a vampire, even if your parents are not vampires. Nobody probably cares about that except us, but that's really cool. You can also get mods in The Sims, so modifications to the game. You can add your own clothes, makeup, blah blah blah. You can also mod The Sims to have your own ley lines, and I'm not sure, the website I found this on is only for Sims 3, but you can probably find it for Sims 4. If not, someone should make this. You, besides having those two ley lines, the like ley line, dark ley line, you can get mods for an aquatic ley line, so that's mer people, so like mermaids. You can have a bewitched ley line, which means your baby can be born as a witch or wizard, like a magical person. You've got an astral ley line, so your baby's gonna be born as an alien. Who impregnated you? You got abducted. And also a lunar ley line. So, the alpha omega werewolves. I don't know. Or you can have a random occult ley line. So any one of those lines, it gets chosen at random, hence the word random. Okay, I've talked enough. I'm rambling now. I've talked to myself enough tonight. I'm gonna go call it a night and hang out with my burger. My cat burger. Not my burger. And thanks for listening, guys. I know solo episodes can be awkward, but I appreciate you sticking around if you stuck around. Follow us on Instagram, creeps and coffee with an N, and you can follow us on X, creeps and coffee. And if you want to send us an email, it's creepsandcoffee@gmail.com. And if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, remember, I mentioned that earlier, you do www.patreon.com/creepsandcoffee. You can become a member of our SAS squad. We release exclusive episodes on there. And yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely time. And rock on, dude. Go download The Sims. Get on my level. This is so cringy. I'm not doing this. Bye!
Creeps and Coffee is produced and edited by us, Kate and Jaim.
Our theme music is Stuck in a Hole by Dated.
For more information on where to find them, check out the link in our show notes. And to connect with us, follow us on Instagram